And welcome back to the Factor Uncensored. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is making headlines again, and he may be pissing some people off. He has ordered state troopers to inspect cargo coming in from Mexico, all commercial shipping, overstepping a job that's meant for federal agents. Tonight, another look at what the governor's real motive behind this move may be.
The main reason that we're doing anything this year is, of course, it's election season. So we're seeing hyperpartisanship, and Beto O'Rourke is going to have to move further to the left, and Governor Abbott is going to have to move further to the right. And with the expiration and non-renewal of the Title 42 orders from the CDC, so the federal government saying we're no longer going to expel immigrants from Mexico who are illegals based on health reasons, the governor saw this as an opportunity to increase scrutiny based on the idea that we would somehow impede illegal immigration, which is a little bit of a stretch because, of course, these are legal border checkpoints. So these are not tunnels. These are not any other sort of standard illegal crossing mechanism. These are places where there are checkpoints already, where federal and state officials from both Mexico and Texas and the United States all gather, and legal commercial vehicles come through and present their items for inspection. So understanding how that can present challenges, particularly with agriculture being the main export of Mexico to the United States.
But we're hearing complaints from Texas business owners, those who are expecting produce from across the border, and they're upset with Governor Abbott as a result of this, right?
Recognize that agriculture is a perishable good. So after it's harvested, you only have a week or so to get these items to market so that people can have them at home. So retailers and commercial grocers are very upset with this, and he's actually even the governor's experiencing protests from Republican agricultural commissioner, who we remember from the Cupcake Gate with Michelle Obama response, right? So he's a very conservative leader. Sid Miller is saying this is a bad idea. It's bad for business. It's bad for recovery, and it's exacerbating existing supply cycle and transportation concerns that we already have. We've already talked about on your show the idea of trucker shortages. We've talked about some of the produce challenges even after the winter freeze last year in Texas. So when we're highly dependent on Mexico for these agricultural imports, and these are perishable items, we're exacerbating the likelihood of spoilage. And nearly a third of produce meant for commercial and residential consumption in the United States and around the world is already lost. So we're already losing around 30% of these goods, and this additional inspection makes it even more likely that hungry families are going to have to pay more for items if they even make it to the grocery store.
Mexican drivers on the Mexico side, they're responding in kind, though, to the governor, right, with their blockade.
Absolutely. And their blockade, very similar to what we celebrated on the conservative side in Canada, is something that brought attention to the challenges that these individuals who are trying to earn a living for their families and trying to bring goods for our U.S. families and Texas families to eat are experiencing. Food prices are high across the globe. There are shortages of food across the globe. So when we tell these workers, hey, just stop here for 10 hours, that is a major challenge for them. So that has actually signaled for the governor to reach some agreements already with some governors in Mexico to reduce or limit the inspections and the scrutiny. So we've already seen these truckers having an impact on Governor Abbott's order.
How soon before we see the federal government intervene and say this is redundancy, the state troopers are doing our jobs, we do this? There's no need for state troopers to interfere with the flow of commerce.
The policy element becomes challenging because we've seen the intransigence of the federal government, whether it be for stimulus checks or for masking guidelines to be uniform across the states. Vaccination requirements are somewhat discoordinated. So it's unlikely that the federal government will do anything other than try to find legal mechanisms, which can take weeks. So actually, this trucker protest is likely to see the quickest reversal of the governor's increased inspections, at least, because the federal government is just really going to take too long.
And I would assume the pressure from conservative farmers and or produce individuals who are buying the produce here on the Texas side. If you have conservatives saying you're doing the wrong thing, you're hurting us, then we'll definitely see a reversal, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons the truckers protested, because they recognize that one of the more powerful business interests is going to be these grocers and their economic power to influence the election. And so that political pressure coming from monetary donations is going to be very real from businesses, even though we can, on a qualitative side, see that families are already hurting with the increased inflationary price of commercial goods and produce. We are also recognize and sort of pragmatically see how money influences elections. So these businesses are going to be pushing back hard on this effort.
All right. Dietrich von Bietenfeld from the University of Houston downtown. Thank you, sir, and thank you for joining us tonight here on The Factor.